there's water on the road and you're looking up these steep precipices and you're thinking, this can't be good. I mean, hasn't this already taught us that this isn't where we really should be?
Welcome to 10-Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Phil Freeman.
And with me, as always, is Shane Patrick. We're going to talk about motorcycle riding in India with Robert Morgan. And if you want to learn about anything else that 10 Minute Travels talks about, check us out at 10minutretravels.com.
Let's get right to it, shall we?
Now, we finally made it to Leh, which is the center of the universe in Ladakh. And it's way up there by the borders of China and Pakistan. And it's at like 11,000, 12,000 feet, something like that. And that has a major airport, and it has a lot more tourists, a lot more traffic. It was kind of like we were country bumpkins, coming in off this road that was lonely. And now we're just surrounded by cows, trucks, cars, everything that beeps, all the things. And it was a culture shock a bit. And we got in, because of our delay, we had to reroute our itinerary because of the monsoon. So we got in there earlier than we were supposed to on our original itinerary. So we've been out in the field for at least a week, and we haven't even gotten to the original printed itinerary. So I asked him, well, what can we do in Leh to kind of keep busy and maybe do a day ride, and then we can get back in lockstep with our original itinerary. And we had a down day. We had to get some permitting. We had to get a whole new fleet of bikes because of some sort of provisional, business situation between rental bikes in Ladakh and also Himachal Pradesh and whatever. So we had a free day. We went to a monastery, and then we had the next day and the day after that to try to just make something up. So he comes up with an idea and he goes, well, let's just do a day ride out to Layamaru or Lamayuru, my fault. Lamayuru. And that sounded great. It looked great on paper. Everybody was just chomping at the bit to go. We jump on the bikes. We start going down the Indus River, and then it starts to rain.
Pouring down rain.
And then we get into a really steep, unbelievably beautiful canyon. But with the rain coming down and the rocks that are washing literally onto the road in front of us and behind us, and there's water on the road, and you're looking up these steep precipices and you're thinking, this can't be good. I mean, hasn't this already taught us that this isn't where we really should be? And we started climbing up this really steep canyon with these huge overhangs. And we made it to this hotel for the night. And there were a few things that were going on. First of all, they gave me the internet password, and I gave that to everybody, and it barely worked. Then I told them that they had an hour for their boiler got taken out by the other landslide the week before, so we had no hot water. That was part of it. But then we started thinking, are we stuck here? Because the road started washing out, right?
So in there, first off, that road up to that hotel was I think the only time that we were driving and rocks literally falling on road around us. It was wild. So we get to the hotel, and the landslide is not, there's not words to this. The landslide is leaning, it has pushed dirt and gravel up against the side of the hotel, to the point that we're strategically placing bikes where if the landslide comes again, we're not going to lose the bikes. And there was an argument with some of Anu's guys about whether or not to take vans outside of this perimeter and things like that. And it turned out that as we're there and it's pouring down rain in the night, and we didn't get our shower and we didn't get our internet, and we're watching as the water is rushing down through this neighborhood and literally taking out the road, to the point that they bring out a backhoe and are trenching across the road to direct the water where they want it to be. And it just so happens that this trench that they're putting in is also where we need to exit the next day.
Yeah. I remember one point we're on the roof and we're watching Farmer John down there just trying to save his buildings. And then you look up and you see that the road above us the switchback has washed out to the point that there is a telephone pole suspended between two other telephone poles, but at least it had a prayer flag attached to it. It was a head shaker. They had excellent food, some of the best of the trip, which was definitely great. There were some long faces because everybody's doing the math. What are we stuck here now for 4 days? I mean, we'd already been through this, and we weren't getting if we were getting handed a bunch of unluck is what we were getting handed.
Sure.
And we didn't know if we could make it back. The next day, we looked at it, the rain's kind of tapered off. Anu had another back way to get maybe out of there. And then the backhoe finally shows up and digs a place, and there's this sloppy mess. And we're all about to ride out. And then what happens?
Yeah. So there's another group. I think it was a couple and their taxi driver that had bunked up in the same hotel that we were at. And the moment that backhoe got something that resembled a road, that was in fact just slop, that taxi goes and jumps right in the middle of the slop, gets stuck, and blocks the road. And we're geared up and ready to go, and roads blocked at this point in time.
This is one of those frustrating cultural points where you thought, why wasn't it thought out? Like, why didn't that guy wait just a little longer? Wasn't it obvious he would go right to his axle in that sludge? What is the thought process here?
Yeah, I mean,
So
if I was that taxi driver, I might be like, I'm gonna see if those bikes can make it first.
yeah, or at least have a tow rope in your taxi. I mean, if you're going to jump out like an idiot, you at least need to have accommodation to get free. I mean, they just about ripped the bumper off of that taxi with the backhoe trying to pull him out. So Anu made accommodations for us, and they made a little temporary road through the sludge for us to get around. So I think that was a 45-minute delay or something like that. In the overall scheme of things, not horrible. So we
No, that doesn't even count as a delay when you're talking about 4 days as a comparison.
so we jump out on the road. We're going back the exact same way we came, and within 5 kilometers of the hotel, we're looking up, and there's bro with excavator digging a hole through the road, uh, at least 3 feet of water on the road. And we're suddenly back to, oh God, we're going back to this hotel. And Anu again, he got, and again, the resolve of getting issues squared away. He goes up and talking to a guy wearing camouflage, and then talking to the next guy, and eventually we see backhoe kind of move out of the way, and we're back on road again, crossing a road that had been dug deeper than the river that was overflowing it. But we managed to get through, probably the deepest water crossing we did, thankfully.
Yeah, and this is a main road. This road is the main trucking road between Srinagar and Leh. It has to be open. It's a point of national security. They will throw everything at it to keep it open. And when we finally get out of it, when we get back to the main road junction at the security check, there are trucks lined and waiting as far as the eye can see to try to go up that road. And guess what they did to the road? As soon as we got off it, they closed it.
Yeah,
We
unbelievable.
just got out of there.
I mean, at that point, I don't think saying that there were 1,000 trucks there is an overstatement. I mean, it was lined up on both sides of the road as far as you could see.
But that gives you insight to their culture, the way they look at life. Like how many, since we were on so many closed roads, there were a lot of trucks that were stacked up all throughout our journey. And all they did was they got to the side of the road, they rolled out a mat, they started playing cards. Some of them would get a barbecue going, and
Yeah.
they were rolling with it, man.
Could you imagine in the U.S. if a semi truck was stuck on the side of the road for days on end? How frustrating and catastrophic that would be for for their industry. It's unbelievable that
There would be shots fired.
Yeah, that's right. It would be unbelievable.
Yeah, their patience it's limitless. Okay.
And I think culturally, it's just to a certain degree expected during that time of year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one year, that monsoon, it slides. So whatever you plan for next year is not what happened this year. That's just part of, I think, the deal. That was Robert Morgan talking about riding motorcycles in India. And if you want to learn anything else about 10-minute travels, check out 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure. And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.